Good afternoon, everybody. I think we'll go ahead and get started with this afternoon's presentation. My name is Erica Wheat. Hey, thanks. My name is Erica Wheat, and I'm here from the UVA HR department to talk about annual enrollment for benefits this year, which, as we can see from the slide, it began on October 8th and is going to run through October 19th. And we're here to cover some of the information about things that are going on this week, these next couple of weeks, and about your choices for annual enrollment. When it comes to benefits and compensation, the way we like to think about it is in a comprehensive package that we think of as total rewards. And total rewards really it revolves around four things. It's the pay that you get as an employee at UVA. It's the retirement benefit that you get as an employee. It's the wellness programs that we offer, and the things that we're really focusing in on here in today's presentation is the benefits. And by benefits, I'm talking about health insurance and dental insurance and vision insurance and things like FSAs and HSAs. But those four kind of buckets of things really make up your total rewards, your total compensation at UVA. Today we're going to be talking about going over an overview, the resources that we have available, some of the changes that are being made, something that no one probably cares about at all, the premiums, maximizing wellness, and also reminders and dates. So this is really an overview of the things for annual enrollment. This afternoon, we've got the ongoing benefits fair with all of the providers where you can get specific questions answered. I've got all of the counselors are here to help, and we'll also be doing a similar, kind of a smaller program tomorrow at the medical center. When you choose your benefits each year, you're making a major investment in your physical and financial well-being. You're not really just checking the box on annual enrollment like, check, got that done. You're really making an important financial decision. The average UVA employee spends about $3,000 on health benefits each year. And that's really a significant financial expense. It's no different than making a big, large purchase on something like a refrigerator or making car payments. It's something that we really want. We're asking all employees to really think about it in a true kind of financial perspective, not in just something I want to get this done for open enrollment. It's really thinking about the choices that you're making, especially with health insurance and dental and vision, about making sure that you're making a decision that works well for you and your family. Every year in Total Rewards, we take a look at the options that we're offering, and we try to offer plans that are competitive with the market. And our responsibility as an employer is really to do a good job at trying to give employees the best options we can. And then your responsibility as an employee is trying to make sure that you're doing the right evaluation, to make sure that you're picking the things that are right for you and for your family. Knowing what you need from your coverage is really going to help you make the best choices for you and your family's health and wellness, both now and in the future. And that's what annual enrollment and the benefits fair and all of the things we have online are really about. They're about making good choices. To put things a little bit in perspective, we always like to give folks an idea of what costs are looking like on the medical and pharmacy plans. And UVA is what's called a self-insured plan. And what that means is we're not taking premium, paying it to Aetna and Optima RX, and then they're turning around and paying providers. It's actually the university that is paying for those expenses, and it's funded through the money that we all pay out of our paychecks for health insurance and dental, and what the employer is, what UVA is contributing for those contributions, and then all of those expenses are really paid out of that pool, and that's what self-insured really means. And as you'll see, we've had some significant increases in costs in 2017, and there are some important drivers, things that are driving those costs. On the medical side of the fence, we saw a 6.3% overall increase in cost. Our normal trend is about 4%, but from 2017 to 2018, we had a jump up of 6.3%, and the drivers there are really a significant increase in what we call high-cost claims, so major major expensive claims, big hospitalizations, there was a big uptick in that. It went up about a little over 41%. We also had just increase in plan enrollment. So our plan enrollment went up by about 3%. And just overall plan utilization. Plan utilization means the number of people actually not just having health insurance, but actually using it. Significant jumps also in pharmacy costs. So our overall pharmacy costs went up 9.3% from 2017 to 2018. A big cost driver there was the increase in specialty drugs. So we had a little over a 35% increase in specialty drugs, and we also had an increase in just overall pharmacy usage that went up, I think, 5.9%. So those things together really combined to make 2017 a significantly more expensive year than in years past. So just to kind of give you a feeling there. The next slide is really talking about showing you one way of kind of thinking about your health insurance coverage. People tend to focus on the point of care. So what am I going to have to pay when I go to the doctor or if I go in the hospital? But they tend not to think so much about the premium that they're paying every month to have health insurance. And so on this chart, it's showing you the combination of, it's showing you a way of looking at it when you're taking into consideration the premium that you pay out of your paycheck every pay period, along with what your potential annual in-network costs could be. So that the stuff in orange is the cost out of your paycheck, so that's just paying for premium. That's whether or not you ever go to the doctor, that's just a given. That's what those costs are when you're paying it out of your paycheck. And then the blue number, the dark blue, is showing you what your total annual in-network costs could be if you incurred significant medical expenses. It's where you're capped at. So let's say you have a $100,000 claim, your out-of-pocket caps would be $5,500. So that's the point at which you've met your financial responsibility for that year for what you need to pay for services, and the plan starts picking up at 100%. Those two things added together are what the total is. And then in the lighter blue, it's showing you what the deductibles are. And that deductible is money that you have to pay before the plan starts paying anything, but that's included in that $5,500. It's a part of it, if that makes sense. So that's just giving you a feeling for what those costs could be. And you'll see there's a fairly significant difference between what you pay out of pocket on choice and value vis-a-vis basic. Yes, ma'am? Okay, the question was, is the deductible per person or per family? So this is showing you what it would be per person, per individual. On the plan, each of them has a family deductible. So on the basic plan, the family deductible is $4,000. On the value plan, it's a $2,000 deductible. That's $2,000 per person. But if there are multiple people on the plan, once the individual gets to $2,000 or the family in some way gets to $4,000, the deductible is met. And on the choice plan, that deductible is also individual. It's $400 per person, $800 per family. So if the family somehow gets to $800, then the deductible is met. On the basic plan, it's either or. If it's an individual person on the plan, they have a $2,000 deductible. If it's a plan with dependents, it's a $4,000 deductible. That has to be met before any expenses are put in. And we'll talk about it a little bit later in the presentation, but when you're on the basic plan, you receive some seed money towards that deductible from UVA. Any other questions? So the next slide is showing us what the 2019 Pre-Tax FSA and HSA limits are. So employees who are on the choice and value plan can participate in an FSA for medical and dental expenses. As it's been in years past, the minimum contribution that you can make is $120 per year for the medical, and the maximum is $2,500. Those are decisions that you make upfront during annual enrollment, and then that money is taken out of your check in equal installments over the course of the year. And it's use or lose. So whatever you've decided that you want to set aside in a given year, you have to use it by the end of that year or into the grace period of the next year, or you forfeit the rest of the funds. Dependent care FSA is really open to anybody on any plan because it's completely separate from health insurance. It's for dependent care expenses. Individuals on the basic plan aren't eligible under IRS regulations for a health savings account. Individuals on the basic plan or they're not eligible for an FSA, they have an HSA. And an HSA is a savings account that you can use for medical, dental, and vision expenses. We'll talk about on another slide about the contributions from UVA, but conceptually, participants on the health savings account on the basic plan receive funds from UVA, and they can also contribute out of their own paycheck to an HSA on their own, and the IRS has limits on that. And the limits for 2019 are $3,500 for employee coverage, and somebody that has family coverage, so anytime they have more than 2 people, that's family, or 2 or more people, that's family coverage, they can contribute up to $7,000 out of their paycheck per year. And then employees that are 55 and over can actually contribute an extra $1,000 toward that amount. So an individual person on the basic plan with individual coverage could actually could contribute up to $4,500. The money UVA gives you towards the HSA does count into that total. And then somebody on the who has family coverage can contribute up to $8,000 if they wanted to. And that the money that you get, the seed money that you get from UVA would count towards that cap. For those of you that are already participating in the flexible spending account or the HSA, and you want to keep things just as they are for next year, whatever you've elected this year will roll forward into next year. But if you want to change it, stop it, start it, increase it, especially for those of you that are on the FSA, you want to make sure that you go in during annual enrollment and make that change, because otherwise whatever you've done for this year is going to roll forward into next year. HSA changes you can make anytime, so it's not as big of a deal. But for FSA, annual enrollment is your one time of year to make a change to your FSA. Any questions on that before we move on?
What's the benefit between the FSA and the HSA?
So they're tied to plans, but we're going to go there in just a second. All right, so a health savings account. The biggest difference between a health savings account and a flexible spending account is that a health savings account is literally a bank account with money in it that stays with you from year to year, assuming there is funds, and it goes with you when you leave. A flexible spending account is an amount of money that you can use, but you have to use it within a set time period. So you have to use your FSA funds within the next calendar year. There is a grace period that we have that goes till March 15th of the following year. But after that, if you have money left in that account, it defaults back to the plan. With a health savings account, you're literally saving money in a health savings account to use for medical expenses now and in the future. So it's more akin to a bank account. It's really a financial vehicle.
Are they both tax-free?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they are both tax-free.
Pre-tax?
They're both, well, they're not tax-free, they're pre-tax. So if you're using it to spend on medical expenses, you're not paying taxes on that. But with the health savings account, later on when you hit age 65, you can actually use it for anything. And when you're like a 403B, when you're pulling money out, it's taxed at that point in time. But if you're using it for medical, dental, and vision expenses, it's a mechanism to pay for those expenses with pre-tax dollars. Yes?
What did you mean by when you're 65, you can use it for anything?
With the
Medical?
anything, period. Yeah. Health savings accounts are financial savings vehicles that they're intended to use for medical and dental and vision expenses. But once you get to a certain age, 65, it's much more, what you can use it for is much more open. But
Yeah, if you're 65 and you're using it for medical expenses, it would be non-taxed. But if you use it to take a trip,
it's taxed. Yeah. It's like taking money out of your 403B.
And there's no limit to the money you can have in that account?
There's a limit to how much you can contribute every year. That's what we were looking at that other slide. The IRS puts limits on it, but there's no limit to the amount you can have in the account itself. It keeps growing. Now, you're using it potentially when you have expenses, but there's no cap on how much you can have in it.
So your HSA, you have to predetermine that amount every year?
No, no.
And add to it?
You can make choices as you go. So you can, what a lot of people do is they do make a decision and they say, oh, I want to take out, say $2,000, and we'll take that amount and divide it out over the course of the year. But you can change at any time and say, I want to increase it, decrease it, stop it. It's not like an FSA where you can only make that choice once and then you have to keep it for the rest of for the calendar year.
We've been using the FSA.
Uh-huh.
So it sounds like there's no benefit to having that. You're better off using the.
You can only have, an HSA goes along with having a high deductible health plan. So you can only have the HSA when you're on the basic plan. Yeah. You can't just have, I want to be on the choice plan and have my health savings account. Those rules are set by the IRS. So when you're on the basic plan is considered a high deductible health plan, so you can have an HSA. Choice and value are not, so you can only have the HSA or FSA. When you are on the basic plan, you can, if you want to, have a separate FSA. It's called a limited FSA for for dental and vision expenses. And that FSA works just like a regular FSA. So sometimes people that are trying to preserve the money in their HSA account, but know that they're going to have significant orthodontia, dental expenses in a given calendar year, sometimes they'll set aside a limited FSA to pay for those expenses because they're trying to keep their HSA for medical expenses. So that's something that you can do. It's not something that you have to do. And you can use your HSA for any medical, dental, or vision expense. But it's just an option that you have when you're in the basic plan.
So is that still through charge now?
It is, yes.
So now, another question is, if you use the limited FSA,
Mm-hmm.
unlike the HSA where the money is up front,
Mm-hmm.
if you're using a limited FSA, would that money be up front?
The money is up front in both accounts. The difference is the limited FSA is an FSA, so you have to use it or lose it in that year plus the grace period. It doesn't roll over. So if you said, I'm going to do a limited FSA for dental and I'm on the basic plan and then I don't spend enough money, whatever you didn't spend defaults back to the plan.
But now, if you're making contributions to the HSA,
Uh-huh.
is that money up front too or no?
Yep, it's up
That's
front.
too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yes.
So, I know Shard Snyder is gonna manage both of
Mm-hmm.
those. So, is it similar to like with the FSA? Like I've had numerous issues this past
Mm-hmm.
year with, mistakes that was made, that they had made.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a real headache. And so with the HSA, is it a similar process where, you have a doctor, you're going to pay for a doctor's bill or whatever, and then 10 months later you need to produce the EOB?
You could, because both HSAs and FSAs they have to follow IRS guidelines, and the guidelines are, these are you're paying for things with pre-tax dollars, so they have to audit periodically to make sure that you were using your HSA or your FSA. Let's say a dental bill was truly for dental services, you weren't getting your teeth whitened or something like that, or you weren't going to the dermatologist to get Botox. Like that's what they can't tell when they get that, when those charges are deducted, when you're using your Benny card, what it was actually for. So that's why there are those audits, and it would apply to the HSA as well. But that's a great question. Any other questions here on this one? Okay. Big point here is if whatever you're doing, make sure you think about it, especially for the FSA, because what you do now is going to just roll forward into next year. Yeah.
So if you get the basic,
Uh-huh.
and have money in the HSA, can you use that money for dental and vision
Mm-hmm.
or not?
Yes,
Okay.
you can. It's just that if you wanted to kind of preserve it and then set aside money in an FSA for dental and vision, you can do it. Oh, yes.
Let's say 1 year you want to do basic and put some money in your HSA.
Mm-hmm.
And the next year, maybe you're doing a little bit better salary-wise and you want to upgrade
Mm-hmm.
to value or choice.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to the HSA?
Nothing. Actually, that's on this slide. So with the health savings account, if you are, there's a couple of key things. So if you're going to be electing the basic plan for the first time, IRS rules say you can't have an FSA and an HSA at the same time. Set aside the limited one for a bit. So if you're moving from choice or value and you have an FSA in 2018, you need to make sure that you have spent down that FSA account to 0 by January 1st, or we can't open an HSA account for you. So that's key for those of people that might be switching for the first time. Employees who are going to leave the basic plan, like let's say you had it in 2018 or you elected in 2019, and then you change in a subsequent year, you don't lose the money that's in your HSA account. Anything that's been contributed by UVA that you haven't spent, and anything that you've contributed out of your paycheck that you haven't spent stays there in the account. The difference is that when you're actively participating in the basic plan, there is a $4 fee, like a bank fee that gets charged per month. For people that are actively participating in the basic plan, they're covered. UVA pays that fee. For those individuals who move out of the plan into another one, the money still stays there, but the $4 fee now starts coming out of that account. But you don't lose the money that you have in your account. And I'll use my family as a great example. We moved to the basic plan last year, so we were in it for the first time this year, and we've got, I forget, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 in there because my husband's been contributing. If we decided to move to the value plan for 2019, nothing would happen to that HSA fund other than we'd have to start paying the $4 fee. So.
Can you use the money?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can still use it for medical and dental expenses. You just can't contribute to it. Yes, that's okay. These are all great questions.
The HSA, is that an interest-bearing account?
Ooh, we're going to get to another slide, but yes, it is. It does. Now, when it's in a bank account, it's earning just a teeny, teeny, teeny amount, but yeah.
Can you use that for premium? The HSA account? It's not for premium.
No, not as an active employee. Susan, yes.
What was that? Retiree premiums?
Yeah.
And you can use it for Medicare premiums?
Mm-hmm.
If you're under 65 in a plan, you can use it for that. You cannot use it for, this is very strange to me, but this is a caveat, you cannot use it to pay premiums for a Medicare supplement plan. Ever? No, ever.
Yeah, unless they change the law, unless IRS changes the laws,
Unless they
yeah.
change it. I mean, you can use it to pay for your Medicare Part B, like I said, but if you're in one of
But
those
not the
supplement
supplement plan.
plans, you can't use it for
Yeah.
that free.
You can use it for expenses,
Expenses, of course.
but not for the actual supplement. It's just a little.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the Part D in Medicare, you could use it for or no?
The part that comes out of your pocket.
Yeah. The cost that you incur. So if you
Yeah,
go to
but
pick
not
up,
the pre-
but
no
not the
premiums
premium.
at all. Okay.
Well, I don't know, the
Actually,
D
Part
premium?
D, you could
Yeah.
have it, yes.
Actually, yeah.
It's the same as having Part B, yes.
Okay. So somebody had asked about the investment, the money part of it. So if you have over $1,000 in your HSA starting in 2019, you can, if you want to, move that money into a mutual fund that's some mutual fund options that are managed through through Shard Snyder. So with an HSA, really, if you're in it for a while, your objective is really to kind of save up money to use for health expenses now and in the future. And if your account starts to build up a little bit, you may not want all of that money just sitting in the bank account because the bank account really doesn't earn very much interest. You may want to move it into something else, and that's an option that you have. It would be done through Shard Snyder, and the only caveat is you've got to have at least $1,000 in there. Currently, you have to have, I think it's $4,000 in 2018, but we're changing that in 2019 to say $1,000. When you move it into an investment, it's not attached to your Benny card anymore, so it's not there liquid to be used. So you want to be careful about it, but as your accounts build up, sometimes people are like, oh gosh, I've got $6,000 in here and I want to take 3,000 of it and move it into something else to kind of build up more money to use for, you know, medical, dental, and vision expenses. And that's all done through Shard-Snyder. And it's a lot like, you know, it's not that dissimilar to a 403B. You're investing it, it's just that it's for medical, dental, and vision expenses.
And liquidating it at that point, at some point, does that then have to be applied like to health care again, or is it just?
The driver is, are you 65 or not? So if you're under age 65, you can use it for medical, dental, and vision expenses. Once you're 65, you can use it for other things. Yeah, 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 yes. So we do have a lot of resources available for you all to help make a decision, and all of the vendors are here, including Shard-Snyder and Aetna, and everybody is here today. But we've got some very good resources online. So Ask Alex is our virtual benefits counselor, so that's available all the time, but we've got one now that's dealing with open enrollment. And you can look at videos about annual enrollment changes, which is basically similar to this presentation. There's a nice video that talks about health terms and concepts, kind of explaining the difference between a deductible and a copayment and coinsurance. It helps people understand that. There's a really nice video explaining how the basic plan works. And for those of you that might be thinking about it for the first time, that's a very good 3 or 4 minutes of your life to spend watching that video. All of those are available on the HR website. In addition to what we've got on the website, Aetna also has some excellent tools to use. 2 of them that are really helpful are the payment estimator. So the payment estimator has about 650 different types of procedures where you can go on and sort of estimate what expenses might look like for different types of medical services. And then there's also a cost of care estimator. If you've got an upcoming medical procedure coming up, you can go in and you can get an idea of what that might cost you. Custom Doc Find is the Aetna search that tells you the providers that participate in the Aetna network. And then there is also the Aetna Institute of Quality. That's a ranking of a lot of different hospitals, looking at patient outcomes at different places, because that's an important thing. The plan selection and cost estimator tool is excellent. All of these are really, really nice resources to take a look at, and they're available all the time. We just highlight them during annual enrollment.
I noticed when I went through the plan selection tool, there was a lot of links in there to log into your Shard-Snyder account to find out what the prescription plans and coverages and what category they fall into. However, it's not in there. When you log into the account and you get your personal view, it's not in there anywhere. But there are links on the HR website.
But they're not tied into, yeah. And that's probably because the plan selection and cost estimator tool, we'll have to take a look at that, if that's because it's an Aetna tool, not a UVA tool. Yeah, because that's not, yeah. And then it's not there, yeah. That's good. All right. So there are also some tools on looking at how to maximize health dollars when it comes to drug pricing, especially. For those of you that might be thinking about moving to basic, unlike the value and choice plans where there is a prescription plan included with the health plan, on the basic plan, all of your costs for prescriptions would also go towards your deductible. So sometimes it's a good idea, if you take prescriptions, to just get a feel for what that cost would look like for you on the basic plan. And that OptumRx price tool is very good for drug pricing.
And where's that tool?
That is available, Mandy, is that on the OptumRx? I know it's a clickable link online.
On our HR website,
Yeah.
it's also on the OptumRx.
Yeah. So that can be a useful.
And it's up to date with the new pricing of the drugs and things like that? For the next formulary, whatever is going to be coming out? Or?
The formularies can change, I think, as often as every 90 days, so it's not spot on accurate, because they're allowed to change their tiers basically as often as every 90 days. So it'll give you a good feel for how it is now, but that's not necessarily what it will be 4 months from now. And then the Choosing Wisely campaign is a not-for-profit organization that has a website that gives you some information about resources on how to talk to your doctor about different procedures and healthcare procedures and options that you might want to talk about with your provider. It kind of again, sort of helping you be a good consumer about healthcare. All right, now, the thing that no one really cares about, the premiums. So UVA offers a variety of benefit options for UVA staff, faculty, and team members so that you can choose a plan that fully meets your needs. For 2019, here is the big reveal on the premiums. So for the basic plan, no change in premium. For value and choice, there are some increases. The number in bold is showing you what the new premium is for 2019. The number in the parentheses is showing you what the increase is over the premium this year. And so you'll see there's some pretty significant differences between value and choice and basic. So there are some significant differences. And remember, a premium is something that you're going to flat out pay even if you never set foot in a doctor's office, never pick up a prescription. If I'm on the family plan and I have the choice plan, I'm paying $588.25 a month, even if myself and my kids never go to the doctor. That is a fixed cost that you can expect to pay. And there's a pretty big differential there. So what it's always good to do when we talk about thinking about this as a making good financial choices, it's really taking that into consideration and just making a decision, and everybody makes their own as far as whether that's the right thing for you to do. For those folks, I've talked to a number of people over the last couple days, and one thing that some people have been thinking about is if they were thinking about moving from choice or value to basic, is taking some of the difference in between what they would be paying on choice or value and what they would be paying on basic, and just putting that into a health savings account. So they're getting what UVA is giving, and they're also building up a little bit of money every pay period to kind of stake that account. That's one way of thinking about it. But ultimately, it's really your decision. It's what you are comfortable with. But it's just good information to be aware of when you're picking one plan over another, that there is a cost in the way of, there's of course always a cost at the point of care when you're going to the doctor, but there's also a cost in what you're just paying out of your paycheck every pay period. So it's just important to be aware of that. Yes?
And the maximum out-of-pocket for all three is the same?
Yes. And that's true whether it's employee coverage or family coverage. The out-of-pocket maximum, so that's out-of-pocket maximum comes into play if there's people always say oh my gosh, what if I have a $300,000 claim, I'm going to have to pay 20% or 10% ad nauseum. That's not true. There's a fixed amount that once you get to that number, the plan kicks in and starts paying at 100% after that. And the out-of-pocket maximum is the same for all three plans.
And that would include things like your prescription or
It's all of your out-of-pocket costs are just going towards that cap. And once you hit that cap, then the plan pays 100% for the rest of that year, and then it would start over again.
So the prescription, the deductible toward the prescriptions also counts toward the other medical deductibles?
On the basic plan it does, and I believe Mandy, does the prescription count towards your out-of-pocket maximum? It does on the value. That was a change under the Affordable Care Act. It didn't used to.
Because the value is the only one that has a $100 deductible, correct?
And no, the choice plan does as well. The prescription plan on the choice and value plan is exactly the same.
So, but basic doesn't have.
Basic is on a high deductible health plan, all of your expenses, all of your medical expenses, all of your prescription expenses are just going towards that deductible right out of the gate.
But you're still getting prescription benefit.
No. On the basic plan, there's not a prescription benefit. You would be able to take advantage of the discounted pricing, but when you go and pick up a prescription, there's no minimum and maximum amount that you pay when you're picking up the prescription. The cost goes towards you pay the whole cost, and it goes towards your deductible.
How do we determine that? Because I know I've called Optimum RX, and I've called my pharmacies, and I've called to try to understand that. And many times it's well, we can't give you that information unless you're in the plan. Or unless you have a prescription in your hand and come in with it, I can't give you that information. How do we determine that?
You can talk to Mandy, the health plan ombudswoman. Yeah, she can help you. And that's what yeah.
Roadblocks,
Yeah.
I can't decide because I'm
Yeah.
not getting real information.
Yeah, And that's that OptumRx pricing tool can help you as well, but Mandy can help you with that.
Does UVA shop around for different plans every year, like Aetna, Blue Cross, whatever? Do they do that every year?
No, because we're a self-insured health plan. So remember, we're paying Aetna to manage our claims, but we're paying the expenses on our own. So we're not comparing what Blue Cross is charging and what Anthem is charged, or they're the same, or Optum, or we're using Aetna as our medical, they're doing our claims administration, but we're not paying them premium to help them.
Is that comparable to other offers too? Other plans?
Yeah, just to give.
Would it be all the same?
No, they're all, I mean, it really depends on the plan. I mean, on average, what we strive for and what is fairly common in the employer market is that there is about an 80-20 split between what the employee has to pay overall between premiums and coinsurance and deductibles and what the employer pays. On ours, because we really tried to, especially with the increases, and you saw that slide with how much 41% increase in high dollar claims, 9.4% increase in prescriptions. We didn't pass on that entire cost to employees. We really tried to hold the lid on the premium increases. So actually our ratio of what you're paying versus what UVA is paying is about 86% that UVA is paying overall, 14% for the employee. Yes.
So I want to go back to an example,
Uh-huh.
and if it's too much detail, we can pass on and deal with it. But it's like if I have a medication on a tier 2 drug that's $100 a month,
Mm-hmm.
just flat out cost. On the value with the $100 deductible, once I pay 1 month of that prescription, then everything after that, I notice it drops down to like the $50 or $60 rate,
Mhm.
whatever the negotiated rate is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I pay for the rest of the year going forward. If I switch to a basic plan, you're telling me that I would pay $100 every month.
No. I'm saying what you would pay is the plan would process through the prescription, would process through Aetna or Optum, and then you would pay the full cost. So if that drug was $200, that you would be paying that $200, and it would be going towards your deductible. And you would have.
But I'd still have to pay it until the deductible was met.
That's correct. And that's where UVA is giving you that, if it's an individual plan, $1,000 to help you with that deductible.
Right, but again, I want to go back to,
Uh-huh.
like, I notice, like, so I know I'm using the drug price as 100 because
Uh-huh.
of the deductible.
Right.
Prescription
Mhm.
deductible of 100.
Mm-hmm.
So once I pay the deductible for the drug, I know the price drops.
Because it's the value and choice plans have a prescription benefit where there's a minimum amount that you have to pay and a maximum amount that you have to pay.
It changes based on the drug.
Yes.
So you're saying that piece is not what's in the basic.
That's correct. In the
So I
basic,
would be paying $100 a month until my,
you would be paying the cost of your drug
yeah,
until you met your deductible.
my example would be $100 a
Yes, so if your drug was $100, then every time you picked up that prescription, you would be paying that $100, and that $100 would be going towards your deductible.
Except it seems that if your doctor's prescribed, say, a name brand, and you, then the plan only pays for the generic, or, so that the difference between those costs really doesn't count towards either the deductible or the out-of-pocket.
If it's an out-of-network, Mandy, she's our health plan, yeah. If it's brand name, yeah,
generic option, but your doctor.
but you're picking the brand name.
That the difference doesn't count for the deductible.
There's no benefit.
There's no, that
allowable,
allowable,
that
It doesn't count, yeah.
It doesn't even count as an
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that doesn't count towards your out-of-pocket or towards your, yeah. So,
Well, again, that's where, well, is that where there's, yeah, because a lot of stuff out there doesn't have a generic available to it, but it's
And
still.
if you
on the
haven't
tier 2.
stopped by the office table, Sarah's here today as well, and she's a great resource
Yeah.
to kind of chat with on some of the prescription plans.
yeah, and how that works, yes. Lady in the back.
Is that a change about the prescription plan with basic, or was that?
It's always been that way, yeah. Yes,
I just looked at the numbers
Uh-huh.
on the savings plan.
yeah.
Is it accurate to say that's about 20% increase in monthly premiums?
That is possible, yes. We tried to keep like I said, we tried to keep the plan, the employee cost from increasing over 20%. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
And is there any, I guess I went to a rehab position over the summer, and the discount rate wasn't very much discounted, it was like $9 or $10. And I just wondered, is there another way to get it? Because other plans I've been on have deeper discounts. Is there a way to get the deeper, or do you use the VA? Do you get a deeper?
No, it's the Aetna negotiated discount, and that's you know what Aetna negotiates with each provider. Yeah. The only time that going to a UVA provider makes a difference is when you're on the value plan. It has co-payments, and if you go to a UVA doctor, the co-payment is less. Yes.
Why is the increase 20% on the value, but more like 14 or 15 on the choice?
It's an overall look at what the plan what you have to pay when you're on the plan. It's looking at the deductibles and the co-insurance. It's not a 20% just on the premiums. So it's 20% overall.
On the basic plan,
Uh-huh.
are there still built into that plan the ability to go and have a physical that is done?
That is a great question, and the answer is yes. So on all three plans, if you are going for preventative care, so if it's a regular normal, kind of accepted by the AMA, like an annual physical, dermatology screening, those child visits for kids, those are, if it's billed by the provider as a preventative visit, that's covered at 100% on all three plans.
Does that include your dental, like cleaning?
No, dental is totally separate from the basic plan. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's totally different. You can use your HSA for it, but this is only talking about medical insurance. So.
So if I have Concordia,
Uh-huh.
I will be going through them?
Yes, 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 you would be. Gentleman in the back.
Oh, so there's no, okay, I think I get it now. So there's no difference between basic and value as far as your dental coverage?
Totally separate plans. And there's another slide. But yeah, the dental plan is completely separate from basic, value, and choice. Those are your health plans. But yeah, where it gets confusing is you can use a health savings account to cover dental expenses, but it's not this. It's a completely separate plan from the basic plan. Basic plan, we're talking health insurance. So, any other questions before we move on? Okay. So, speaking of that, we have no increases on the monthly dental and vision premium. So those are staying exactly the same for next year. And those of you that are in a plan already and you aren't anticipating changing, it'll just roll right forward into next year. But these premiums are not changing, and their plans are really for all the basic dental or the basic value and choice. No plan design changes are taking place either. The plans themselves are going to be exactly the same in 2019 as they are this year. It's just the premiums that have gone up for the value and choice. But the benefits themselves are exactly the same as they are this year. And that is true for the dental and vision as well. All right, so now moving into wellness. So we are going to be putting in a new wellness program starting in January. And the intent is to provide more value to the end user. It's going to offer a wider menu of opportunities to earn rewards and work towards self-selected options. It's going to award employees in real time. So once you meet an objective on one of the programs, you can apply to receive that reward right away. It's not waiting until we're paying out all the rewards at a certain time during the calendar year. It'll be developing social networks and really promoting year-round engagement in the plan through incremental achievements and attainable goals. I know a lot of the Who's Well programming in the past, especially the spring and summer challenge, a lot of people, myself included, would do all of this stuff. I'd walk my 7,000 steps, and then bam, on November 1, I'd be like, okay, sitting down. So what we're trying to do with the new program is to really kind of encourage ongoing healthy behaviors. It's going to have an emphasis on physical, emotional, and financial well-being. And to be eligible to participate, employees who are on the UVA health plan, whichever plan, basic, choice, or value, are eligible, and so are spouses who are on the plan. Each person, so the employee and if there's a spouse, each of them is eligible to earn up to $500 in a variety of gift cards. And the program's going to launch in 2019. There'll be a lot more information coming out, and we actually have the folks from the Who's Well team here in the ballroom if you want to talk to them about it. But it'll be launching in January. And there will be, they're going to put things in basically 4 different buckets. There is the where do you stand bucket, which is very similar to what we've had in the past. So somebody who takes a health risk assessment where you go online and answer medical questions about how you're doing. If you complete that, you earn $100 that you could then turn in and cash in for one of the gift cards. The Well Adult exam is your annual physical with your doctor. So if you go and have a Well Adult exam in 2019, you will be eligible to earn $200 in rewards. The next set is physical and nutrition, and the potential reward here is up to $100. And this is really divided in 2 different ways. We'll still have the ongoing kind of the challenges where you might participate with a team or people at work where you can do kind of a social group-oriented challenge, and you'll be eligible to earn $50 per challenge. Or if you'd rather do things a little bit more independently and do it on your own, there will be they're calling physical and nutrition journeys that are more self-guided, self-directed, and those are also $50, what they call per stage. Separate from, yes, that's okay.
So you have employee plus spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So both the employee and the spouse, for example, could earn $300 for the where you stand.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So total $600.
Total is $600. So potentially employee and spouse on the same plan could earn up to $1,000 in rewards. The last part of it is financial and emotional, and again, those are $50 per stage for each of them. So it's a total potential of $500. And I think I saw a hand up in the back. Uh-huh. It's all year. Yeah, it's not going to be like it's been in the past with the biometric screenings where you have to do it by a certain time and all of that. It's going to be throughout the year. So as long as you're having it, as long as you had it in 2019, you'd be eligible. That's one of the actually kind of nice things about it. Yes.
I could talk to one of the people and they said that the rate, back to August 1st of 2018, that you just had your
Mm-hmm.
Mostly Vicky told me November, but
Yeah.
if they moved it back, I'm excited because I talked to him about that.
No, that's great. So, and they would, and if you talk to the Who's Well people, they would be the most in the know. Yes.
Are these, when you go through this,
Uh-huh.
and obviously they have the results of your exam or fitness, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Does that relate to your insurance company or UVA?
Not in an aggregated level it is, but not in an individual level. But that would be a great question to ask. I mean, the Who's Well folks are right out there if you want to go visit them.
I'm curious if that information is shared, are they using that for premiums or?
No. It's not targeted one-to-one like that. No, it's aggregated information. Yes.
I have a question and a comment about that. My understanding is no biometrical or no detailed information is necessary for the new Who's Well plan. They're not really asking for any medical details at all.
No, it's just knowing did you have an exam?
So there wouldn't be anything to be shared.
Yeah. Yep.
But my question is more about these different levels here.
Uh-huh.
So like, not to sound cocky, but I don't feel like I need any financial journey. So can I apply that to something else?
You might be giving me an emotional journey with that question. The answer is I do not know, but I know the people who will know are right out in the ballroom.
So that would be the Who's Well.
Yep, the Who's Well folks, yes. Oh, okay.
A couple of us went to the talk
Uh-huh.
as well in Frederick.
Uh-huh.
And she said that you do not have to do financial or emotional. Like if you want to do 4 of the physical nutritional journeys, you can.
Thank you.
So that's good to know. All right. So, Yeah, it's much more about choosing what's best for you. So that's really good to know. Any other questions on this page? And the other question that's come up a little bit is, do I have to cash it in right away, or can I save it up and wait till December? And the answer is yes. You can either, if you earn something in February and you want to cash it out and get a gift card for that particular thing, you can do that. Or, as one of my benefit counselors mentioned, she was like, I'm just going to save all mine and cash them in December and use it for Christmas presents. So, the answer is yes, and that's because that's an IRS regulation. So yeah, gift cards are considered taxable income by the IRS.
Can you go back to that slide to show the gift cards?
Oh, sure. Now, this is not an exhaustive list of the gift cards. Like Toys R Us, we know that's out of business. This is just like a picture. So I know somebody in a presentation was like, well, I can't go to Toys R Us. But yeah, this is just, there's a whole bunch of different gift cards. So this is just a picture of some of the ones. Yes?
So if you get good gift cards, then you have to claim them on your taxes?
No, you don't have to claim them on your taxes. What happens is it's done through payroll. So payroll gets a list of everybody who's had a gift card, just like they would for not even one through the Who's Well program, but through something else. And then it gets loaded in as part of your taxable income on a particular pay period. So they'll say like, oh, this person got a $100 gift card, so we're going to add that into your taxable wages for that pay period.
So you're paying taxes on it somehow?
Yes, just like you were on the Who's Well rewards. That's
So
if.
can you get the money instead of the gift?
No, it's only gift cards. Is how it works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about that idea. I mean, we're still paying taxes, but.
Yeah, and it's real time, and that's an IRS IRS says it's considered income and we have to tax you on it, just like we have to tax you on the Who's Well dollars that we used to give you.
I don't suppose they give us a post-tax gift card.
There is no such animal.
$32
No. No. Or we gross it up and then, no. I don't think payroll's going to go for that one.
Do you know if the gift card's expired? That's kind of online.
I don't know. I believe I've heard that they don't, but I don't know. And again, that would be a good question for the Who's Well people. All right. So with the new company that we're going to be working with, it's a company called Red Brick. They're out in the ballroom, but employees will have you'll have a dashboard you can download on your mobile device where you can kind of see your progress, where you are. It's a lot easier. I think it's going to be a lot more user-friendly than the old portal was with Active Health. So you can kind of see where you stand, see your rewards progress, and then you can also go and see like what you've done, what you could still do, and it'll be, I think, a lot more interactive and a lot easier for folks to use and kind of keep an eye on where they stand. Yes?
Are they going to be removing all your information from that to this?
I don't, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. But they, Vic and the folks out there may know the answer to that question, but I don't know if they're porting in the information from Active Health. But I agree, it would be interesting to kind of see that. Okay, just real quick reminders and dates. Obviously, we're all at the benefits fair today. There is another one tomorrow in the medical center dining rooms. And any choice you make for annual enrollment will take effect on January 1st, 2019. So if you don't make any changes now, what you have will just roll on into next year. We are asking, because of the move to the new HR platform Workday, we are recommending that you go into your benefit self-service and print out a confirmation of your elections for 2019, just in case, as a part of the transition to Workday, something changes and you thought you had one plan and you ended up in another plan. Your confirmation is your documentation, your proof that you did make a change during annual enrollment. So we're just saying it's a good thing to do if you can, just to go in and make your elections and then print out a confirmation. A couple of key things for next year. So starting in 2019, if you're a new employee or newly eligible for benefits, or you have a qualified life event, you have a 30-day window to enroll in benefits rather than a 60-day window. Dependent children who turn 26 in 2019 come off the plan at the end of the year, at the end of the month in which they turn 26, rather than at the end of the year in which they turn 26. And I call this the Calvin clause. I have a son who will be turning 26 in May, and he will be coming off my plan at the end of May rather than the end of December, much to his dismay. So they're coming off at the end of the month rather than the end of the year. You still need documentation to enroll dependents on your plan, just as you do now. And we're also asking people to make sure that we've got Social Security numbers for all your dependents. That's actually a requirement under the Affordable Care Act for that. So when you're in self-service looking at benefit things, it's good to just double check, make sure you've got Social Security numbers for all your dependents and that the names and birth dates and all of that are correct. And last but not least, the program that is called Healthy RX is going to be closing in January 1st, 2019. So if you've participated in this program in the past, it's going to be ending as of at the end of the year. So annual enrollment, just a summary. Make sure that you take a moment to kind of understand your choices and make the best decisions for you. And again, really encouraging you to print, or better yet, email yourself a copy of your benefits confirmation just so you have it in preparation for Workday. The working spouse rule is still in effect, so if your spouse has employment elsewhere, they're not eligible to be on our plan. And be sure to double check you and your dependents' information for accuracy. We're going into a new system, so it'd be great to start it with as clean of data as possible. And more information on Workday will be coming as far as how to access your benefit elections next year. And I think from what I've seen of Workday, it's going to be very, very user-friendly, especially at the employee level. All right, well, thanks, you guys. Happy to answer any questions, over in the corner or something if people have specifics.